Stories about surviving death have always fascinated humans. These stories can teach us many things about ourselves, our limits, and what it means to be alive. Today, we will look at some recent cases of people who have cheated death and lived to tell their stories. Each story is more terrifying than the last and will leave you questioning how you would react in such situation. So buckle up and prepare to hear some truly chilling tales. A scary plane ride. Have you ever been on a flight and felt a sudden drop or jolt? What did you think in those moments? Did you pray silently to God that everything was going to be all right? Well, imagine if it happened, and the pilot announced casually, "Ladies and gentlemen, we just entered a microburst and are now plummeting toward the ground at 200 miles per hour. You would probably panic, right? Well, that is exactly what happened on July 2013, when a Southwest Airlines flight from Baltimore to Atlanta encountered a sudden and violent downdraft known as a B. Plane lost an astonishing 3,000 feet in less than 60 seconds. And was on track to smash into the runway at Atlanta S. Hartfield Jackson International Airport. The pilots fought to regain control of the plane, while the terrified passengers braced for impact. But miraculously, they managed to level off just 60 feet above the ground. In total, the plane had fallen 3,000 feet in 60 seconds. That's the equivalent of falling from a small plane or skydiving without a parachute. To make matters worse, the plane was carrying 148 passengers and 5 crew members. Despite the terrifying ordeal, none of them were injured. The pilot, Captain Tammy Jo Schultz, and First Officer Tammy were hailed as heroes for their quick reactions and expertise, which undoubtedly saved all lives on board, hanging by a thread. Imagine being trapped inside a burning building with flames rapidly approaching. The heat intensifies, making it hard to breathe. The ceiling above you begins to collapse, forcing you to crawl through thick smoke. Just when you think it can't get any worse, you feel the floor beneath you give way, leaving you hanging onto a ledge for dear life. This unimaginable scenario became a reality for a 22-year-old man from Brooklyn, New York, named Rodney. He was at his home on the second floor of a 3-story apartment building when he heard screams and saw flames coming from a neighboring apartment. As the fire spread, he tried to escape but was forced to jump out of his window onto a ledge. Miraculously, he survived the fall and managed to hang on despite sustaining serious injury. When firefighters arrived, they found him unconscious but still breathing. After performing first aid, they rescued him from the building and rushed him to the hospital, where he was treated for burns and other injuries. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, but it's believed to have started accidentally. This terrifying incident serves as a reminder of the importance of having a fire escape plan and the need for proper safety measures in multi-story buildings. Struck by lightning, when you hear a clap of thunder, do you instinctively duck for cover? Thunderstorms can be dangerous and unpredictable. Most people don't think twice about continuing their daily activities during a light shower. But sometimes a thunderstorm can turn deadly. Like what happened to a young girl from Florida named Kylie and her family. While celebrating her birthday at a water park with her family and friends, she was struck by lightning. She suffered cardiac arrest and third-degree burns on her face, arms, and legs. Her condition was critical, but thankfully she was in the care of her father, who was also a volunteer firefighter and first responder. Thanks to his quick reactions, Kylie was able to be saved. Although she required multiple blood transfusions and skin grafting surgery, she made a full recovery and was discharged from the hospital 2 months later. The nightmare of Shark Week. If you love watching Shark Week, then you know just how fascinating these creatures can be. Beaver size, strength and predatory instincts are truly awesome. However, there are times when sharks can be dangerous and even deadly to humans. And one such incident occurred in September 2019 when a surfer named Bethany Hamilton was attacked by a tiger shark while surfing in Hawaii. Despite losing part of her left arm in the attack, Bethany managed to paddle back to shore. As spectators watched in suspense, she dragged herself onto the beach, where she was rushed to the hospital. But this wasn't Bethany's first encounter with a shark. In 2003, she had already lost her left arm in a shark attack. Undeterred, she learned to surf again and became a professional surfer. This remarkable story of resilience and courage has inspired many people around the world. Run over and alive. Imagine you're driving down a busy street when suddenly you're hit by an oncoming car. Your vehicle spins out of control and you find yourself trapped inside with smoke filling the air. You try to catch your breath as you realize you're still alive. But as you look around, you see glass shattered everywhere and can hear the honking of cars. It must have been a bad accident. And then you realize that you weren't wearing your seatbelt. And somehow your airbag did undeploy. Now you're afraid to move. That was exactly the situation that Javier Hernandez found himself in after his Honda Accord collided with a pickup truck. Impact was so severe that it caused the 2,000-gallon propane tank to explode, engulfing Hernandez in flames. Miraculously, he managed to escape the burning wreckage and survived the ordeal with only minor injuries. Although the crash was caused by a drunk driver who fell asleep at the wheel, Hernandez refused to let the accident define him. Instead, he became an advocate for stricter drunk driving laws and has shared his story in hopes of preventing similar accidents. Being crushed by a train. Imagine standing on a train track with a freight train barreling towards you. Time seems to slow down as you watch the train approach, its whistle blowing in the distance. In a split-second decision, you jump aside just as the train rushes past. You can feel the wind from its passage and hear the screeching of the brakes as it comes to a stop. The train was traveling at a staggering 70 miles per hour and weighed nearly 3 million pounds. It was too heavy for anyone to survive being crushed by it. So, you might be wondering, how could anyone live to tell the tale? Well, it's hard to believe, but it has happened before. In 2010, a woman from Texas named Jessica Daver. She was walking along the train tracks when she realized a freight train was headed her way. With no time to spare, she jumped off the tracks and managed to escape unharmed. The train passed over her and continued on its journey. It's a miracle she wasn't crushed to death, bitten by a venomous snake. This next story is sure to make you shudder. Imagine being bitten by a venomous snake and having to fight for your life as you wait for help to arrive. For a 21-year-old student named Gabby, this nightmare became a reality when she was bitten by a highly venomous eastern brown snake while hiking in Australia. The snake's venom is one of the most dangerous in the world and can kill a human in less than an hour. Thankfully, Gabby had her wits about her and immediately called for help. An ambulance arrived within 20 minutes and administered the antivenom that saved her life. If it hadn't been for her quick actions and the effectiveness of the antivenom, she likely wouldn't have survived. This terrifying ordeal serves as a reminder of the importance of being prepared when hiking in areas with venomous snakes. Stranded at sea. You are adrift at sea for weeks, surrounded by nothing but endless waves and the scorching sun beating down on you. You've run out of food and water and your body's weak with exhaustion. Suddenly you spot a lifeboat in the distance and hope surges through you, but then it disappears over the horizon. Is it a mirage? Will you ever be rescued? That's exactly what happened to a sailor named Jose Salvador Alvarenga. He was on a fishing trip when his boat capsized, and he found himself stranded in the Pacific Ocean for 438 days. I survived by drinking salty ocean water and eating fish, seaweed, and raw horse meat. Miraculously, he was eventually spotted, and a police boat offered him water and food and then pulled him out of the ocean. He was medevacsed to a Coast Guard vessel and then flown to a hospital in Costa Rica, where he received treatment for sunburn, dehydration, and malnutrition. Number 10, being buried alive. In 2012, a construction worker named Michael Oliphant found himself in a horrifying situation. He was working on a construction site in South Africa when he became trapped underneath a pile of rocks. His colleagues rushed to his aid, but because the rocks were so heavy, they could only pull him out partially, leaving his head sticking out. This meant that Michael had to stay awake for 6 long hours until a specialized rescue team arrived. During this time, he communicated with the people around him by writing notes, letting them know that he was thirsty and asking them to protect him from the dogs. Thankfully, a rescue team eventually arrived and used explosives to clear the rocks off Michael, allowing him to be taken to the hospital. That concludes our list of the top 10 scariest things people have lived to tell about. From surviving shark attacks to being buried alive, these stories are truly terrifying. We hope you enjoyed learning about these amazing people and their incredible experiences. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.